What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 18 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Settra, Great King the Imperishable, Khemri Kara, the Great King of Nehekara, King of Kings, Opener of the Way, Wielder of the Divine Flame, Punisher of Nomads, the Great Unifier, Commander of the Golden Legion, Sacred of Appearance, Bringer of Light, Father of Hawks, Builder of Cities, Protector of the Two Worlds, Keeper of the Hours, Chosen of Petra, and many, many more campaign. So as we saw last time, we had our sort of new armies, well, not Kateps, but Settra and WAKHAF do their debut as we finally have declared war on the Thunderhoof Ogres, who we were waiting for the 10 turns to be up, and have pretty much destroyed their faction, with those two battles as their two main stacks are in these settlements that we attacked. We'll be wiping them out shortly, and then heading out to, well, continue gathering those books of ours and picking up new vassals where we may. Settra, in the meantime, is on the way to Nagashazar, just based on the principle of the thing, and I guess I'll have to go all the way to Cursed Pit and then all the way out, which is kind of annoying, but, well, what can you do? As we don't have a sort of underway stance, we'll just have to deal with it. Now, this is more or less a new turn, isn't it? So we should be able to get a move on and do various things. First of those various things is, we're gonna, now that we have the new pyramid, pick up one of the power-ups for, I'm going to say start with the Ushabti, maybe. Unbreakable and a significant buff to them, though the Vigor loss will become useless as soon as we have that nice little landmark that gives the Ushabti perfect Vigor. We'll start with Curios of Divinity, and then we'll also follow up with Well-Adorned Howdahs, which gives us the sort of roar ability for the War Sphinxes, which significantly reduce enemy capabilities on top of preventing them from moving. And then we have the Roused Sentinels, which is also a significant buff for the Sepulchral Stalkers. I'm almost tempted to do this one first. Yeah, I'll start with the Ushabti. Anyway, we'll get them all anyway. Settra, you cannot reach Nagashazar in one bound, so I suppose you can swap into a raiding stance or whatever, and move on in next turn. Hanet, I believe you were wiping out some Bretonnians, weren't you? And since there is very little in the way of enemies here to defend, we should be able to just destroy them without issue. Now, Prince Temp. Okay, I'll send you where you need to be in a second. This will auto-resolve because it's mostly garbage peasants. And Occupy. And is that the destruction of Thegan's Errant Tree already? And, no, I guess they are alive somewhere out here. I guess they have another little settlement. Alright, go find them, Prince Temp. Alrighty, and I would like you to, I guess, lose the... I mean, you're just sitting back and casting anyway. Now, the other thing is, the Temple of Mordig has completed its third tier of buildings, so, moment of truth, they will indeed become vassalizable. Now, I don't know whether this will actually work, in the sense that I don't know whether our other factions will start to hate us because of this, because of the aversion due to these guys. If it starts negatively impacting our other vassals, I think what we'll do is then we'll just cancel the agreement and kill them all. But if we can get the opportunity to get the ghostly units, Karen Wraiths particularly, I'd be pretty happy with that, so, yeah. Al-Rahim Dunes or Dekasir? Maybe we'll go with Dekasir here. And Mortis engines. Oh, they can already build them. Oh, yes. Those will work very nicely. Ooh, we can put Mortis engines with our Tomb Fleet army. They can hover over the water. Yes. All right. Yeah, see, this will work out as long as all of our factions don't hate us based off of this. And you know what? We can counteract that a little bit by taking a look at some Chaos factions and that we can randomly sort of declare war on regardless of where they are. Maybe the ones in... Okay, we have all the Tzeentch factions. Let's see, there's a lot of Slaaneshi factions. We could declare war on all of them, and it probably won't matter much. Withered Die, Dimmed Suns, just taking a look at what options we have. Nurgle options, oh, there's not that much. Maggot Host is really far from us. You know what, let's declare war on them. Declare war on the Maggot Host, like so. Certainly a faction that is far away, but also a faction that is relatively powerful, and all of our vassals can just sort of enjoy being at war with them. Let's do like 3 to 5 of these, and then that will hopefully counteract any negativity from the from what we're doing. Demons of Chaos is also another option, I guess. Why not? I don't think they can do anything to us with any kind of ability, and if the Exiles of Khorne should want to join and fight us, good luck to them. Not like they'll ever be down here anyway. Alright, lovely. 2. Let's do a couple more. How about the... who's next? Oh, also Nagaroth is starting to like us again. Wait, we're not trading with the Star Guide? Oh, wait, we are trading with the Star Guide. In fact, we're trading with all the elves. Good. Alright, could do some of these Khornate factions. There's one here, but we'll declare war on you later. In fact, you'll die. Karnath's Sons, though, is a better option. Declare war on you. Unlike the Tzeentchans, these guys aren't priorities, but we might as well be effectively at war with all the demonic factions. Maybe I should do this between the episodes. Alright, let's do one more and then I'll do the rest between the episodes. Because you kind of have to go through them one by one and it's a whole hassle. But it'll keep our vessels friendly. Frankly, we could do the same thing to like the million Skaven factions out there as well. Might prove beneficial. Where's Gibbering Decay? All the way up here? Yeah, why not? Declare war on Gibbering Decay as well. Alright. Alright, there we go. Alright, that should keep the vessels a little bit happier, and just out of curiosity here, what do we got in terms of our relationship? Okay, it's rising. To what degree, I genuinely cannot tell, but I suppose we shall have to see. Alright, I'm excited for the potential of those ghostly units. The vampire units, once again, I feel lawfully inappropriate for the faction, but the ghostly units are free real estate. Anyway, let's start. Hakor, you are going to proceed towards Karak-Azgal, which by the looks of it you can't reach in one bound. Alright, fair enough. Go into raiding stance, and then begin here. WAKHAF, you're besieging as you should be. Rakash, you guys... Well, I guess you can separate now. So, Rakash, you... And we will trade all the carrion 2 plus the boat, and then lose everything that isn't a carrion or a boat. Like so. Keep the Lich Priest of Nehekara. Alright, that means you have room for... presumably a couple of... Can you build boats here? Is Numas here? Yeah, you can. Alright, let's do 2 Mortis engines, maybe. Maybe a couple of carrion... Oh, I forgot about the Guardians of the Alabaster Tower. We should actually get those on the field as well. Alright, you know what? Build 2 more carrion for now. I don't know if we'll keep those, and frankly, just build 2 of the other boats. We can... well, actually, 1 other boat. Why 1? Because I would like another Lich Priest in here. Maybe... actually, let's do a Lich Priest of Death for this particular army, because we already have 1, and... Frenzy, targeting range, campaign line of sight. This will work, I guess. Sure, why not? We'll do you. I want the Spirit Leech for this particular army, because it's going to have a very tough time against single entities. And we're just going to have to imagine that King Rakash floats, or maybe his horse is enchanted to run over the water. Kind of like Arcan's chariot flies, and Settra's chariot... I'm assuming if Settra's chariot wants to go over water, it can, so... yeah. Anyway, you will probably want Master Charioteers to sort of mix together with your army, but otherwise we're fine. Seheket, you can, I guess, reinforce the attack against Pyramid of... Wait, can you actually reach this place? Yes, you can. Alright, you can get a little bit of XP. I'm not actually sure that we care about you as a lord. I forget what your trait is here. Oh, you have Venerated Priest, which is kind of mad, to be perfectly honest, but, you know, you can still serve as a recruiter. And besides, you have to go southward to trade Kotep his stuff, and actually, speaking of Kotep, go into March Stance and go here. We will have Seheket deliver the Sphinx Legion of Numas to Kotep, and then trade the... well, I guess globally recruit the other special unit. I know, this should be auto-resolvable by the looks of it. I mean, the enemy has no chance here. It'll, of course, obliterate our army, but that's just the auto-resolve hating on the Tomb Kings as it does. Alright, Storm of Necromancy, and we will keep this stuff until we're ready. Alright, looks like we're good. And then, I wonder if this guy's going to the Idol of Sokth. What's the likelihood he could take it? Low? I'm hoping low. I would be unfortunate to lose a landmark like this. Tremendously so. But we shall see. Anyway, this army won't have necrotex. I mean, in theory, we could put a couple of War Sphinxes in and say that they're sort of wading through the water, but if they're going in the deep sea, then they'd sink, you know. So I don't know. We'll see how the army performs. I still like the idea of a tomb fleet here. And, And we can make the carrion a little bit tougher by giving them the appropriate banners, the withering banners. It still won't make them that tough, but, you know, maybe a little bit better. Anyway, we'll see. You are besieging Scorpion King. Thotep, you have taken the White Palace and are now moving to the Gateway of Eternity, which by the looks of it you can't reach now. So, I'll pop you into an Entomb Beneath the Entomb Beneath the Sands right here, at the edge of our territory here. And we'll head to the Gateway of Eternity next turn. And we'll leave the buildings as they are here otherwise. Also, wait, we completed a Herald last time, and it was the Herald of Jaff for the Ushabti. Did I give this to you? That was the last episode, so there's a distinct likelihood that I did not. Alright, so Herald of Jaff, if I can find... Oh, that was our first Razor Standard? Wow. Took a long time to get that. Where are the Heralds? Alright, Herald of Jaff. Alright, 6 out of 7, I believe. Or 3 out of 7, I believe, Heralds are now. Oh, 3 out of 6. No, out of 7. 1, 2... Wait, 4? Herald of Settra, Jaff, Xandrian, Scorpion. Huh? Wait, did I miss one when I was looking at this? One moment. I am concerned. Oh, yeah, okay. I missed this one because I'm stupid. And I believe we're good. Alright. Scorpion. I note that the Hakor's hackers and the other guys don't have their frenzy. Is this only when they're rank 7? No. Enabled if leadership is higher than 50% of base. Well, hopefully they have it in battle. It would be disappointing if it was broken. Man, it'll make the bow shop even stronger. Again, this army would just be much, much stronger if we replaced all the Mallow Shopti with Bow Shopti, but it'll probably be too strong, so I'm not going to do that. Alrighty. I like it where it is. I guess you can proceed to the Skaven now, so move here, go into raiding stance in... Oh, this is our territory? Huh, okay, just march stance there. If they ambush you, you'll just have to... survive best you can. Oh, Shiotla, you're hanging out at Sotek's Trail. It's a tier 5, so I don't see the enemy actually taking you out, but it is still dangerous. Anyway, who is next for moving? Alcazar. You're supposed to reach Gujur Mines, and by the look of it, you can just reach it. Fantastic. I'll move on in, sir. It's full of Clan Moors, who are allied with the Challengers of Khorne and Clan Verms, and we'll just declare war on them, whatever. And declare war. And I'm wondering, okay, so I want to see whether these guys also, our vassals also declare war on the Challengers of Khorne and Verms. Sometimes it's kind of weird in that the vassals won't do it, but I don't know, I just, okay, besiege this for a second, I just want to take a look. Also, we will fight this. Are you at war with the Challengers of Khorne? You are indeed. Okay, that works out well for us. A few more factions for us to be at war with, and thus for our faction to, or our other little mini factions, vassals, that's the word, to fight against. Anyway, Alcazar, well, let's get you your points, shall we? You have Resurrect now, so you're good in that regard. You have Petra the Great Father, which is the critical thing. You do have a casket, but I'm not entirely sure that we're keeping it in this army. Well, it's not bad. I mean, we could put another Screaming Skull Catapult in here. Or a couple of Bone Giants. I don't want to really remove the Tomb Guard or the Chariot, so we have a very limited amount of sort of space to play with here. That's the thing. No, I'll just get the Assyrians anyway. It does at least give us a casualty or punishment rate, so regardless of what we do there, we'll still, it will still benefit from it. Walat, I believe, does nothing for us. Yeah, and come from post-battle loot is fine, but, you know. Not really worth the point, in my opinion. I do like the Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity, so we should still get to that one. And the rest is probably okay. I'm thinking we do get you the Ceremonial Bandages, just in case... Oh, I should have gone for Returned in Madness. Yeah, we'll get you Returned in Madness afterwards. That'll actually help you on your Chariot. You can go for Over My Dead Body and then start in on Woundmaker, and then you can do the exact same thing. Doom Strike, Over My Dead Body, and then you're one level short. Alright, now let's do some fighting against the rats. Should be pretty good. They got 2 stacks and a few dangerous units to our chariots. But these are pretty solid range chariots. Go. Alrighty, here we go. King Alcazar II, our second chariot lord on field once more. Let's see what he can do when outnumbered, which is not ideal for his army composition type, especially since these are the ranged chariots rather than the melee. That said, I've been relatively impressed with their capability of sniping enemy units, so they certainly have a few targets here, like for example that Brood Horror, and maybe even the Plague Claw catapults if they can, you know, get close enough and stay close enough to same set artillery pieces. We shall see. Anyway, the arranged chariots move on forward, gonna get their first few volleys out, that they will get hit with a Warp Lightning, and because of the low, extremely low HP, the Skeleton Archer chariots, or just Tomb King chariots in general, the first one will get obliterated by that Warp Lightning. Fortunately, we do have more where that came from, so not the biggest of deals. Otherwise, we're gonna back off, doing a little bit of damage to the Brood Horror with our ranged damage, which has dropped down to about 60% of its HP, and it looks like the rest of the enemy army is fairly annoyed. Trying to use our hero and lord chariots to move through the enemy, but it looks like their mass is, you know, sort of not comparable to that of Settra, and thus they have a difficult time even with enemy clan. Look at the gliding horses, what the heck? Is this unit too fast, or is just the horse animation is broken here? Huh. It wasn't last time this army fought. It's kind of funny looking though. Anyway, maybe it'll fix itself once they get in an attack. Ah, there we go. And then the horses start biting. Gonna try to do a little bit of damage to that Warlock Master, though I fear we won't be able to stick around here as the enemy army approaches our main stack and we have to protect our artillery. And we continue engaging in a shootout with our chariots and the enemy, generally speaking. But the occasional charge through the enemy ranks shouldn't be too bad an idea, as long as we're careful not to sort of charge into threatening units. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to handle a charge with the ranged chariots into like a unit of storm vermin with halberds, and even charging into clan rats will damage them quite a bit. So we charge a little bit and then back off. We also don't want to engage in a direct contest with the chieftain, or anything, once again, that can deliver significant alpha strike to knock down one of the chariots in the way that that Warp Lightning did. Anyway, looks like the enemy weapons teams have moved forward, despite the fact that we've been focusing them down with our artillery as best we can. Gonna keep on doing so, but just try to engage them and stop them from chucking those death globes at our units. And there we go, one of our heroes, one of the Tomb Princes rather, comes down and charges through a bunch of the enemy, but the rats have come down the hill and have started to engage our Tomb Guard. The enemy Brood Horror has managed to peel away from those chariots with about 25%, maybe 30% of its HP remaining, and has started to heal it up a decent bit, thanks to the regen on it, and is in fact now moving towards our Casket of Souls. Caskets of Souls are super fragile, each hit delivering like 20% of its HP and damage, so we got to okay, now it's down to half HP. Everybody reposition, kill the damn rat. Oh, Lord. Alright, fortunately though, with the help of the chariots and the Tomb Prince, yeah, that was my error. I should have kept the chariots on it instead of letting it move away. It was very dangerous. It would be very unfortunate to lose a Casket of Souls like this, because you can't get them back once they're dead, but all good. At least for now. As to whether other enemy units move towards the casket remains to be seen. Anyway, our Tomb Guard and our units of Tomb Barks are engaged. Huh. Maybe trying to use the Chain Lightning on the Tomb Bark? Interesting. Or maybe it was trying to hit the Tomb Guard below. That would be probably the more effective choice there. Sword and Board Storm Verms fighting our Tomb Guard roughly evenly by the looks of it, though our Tomb Guard are winning. And with the support of the Tomb Barks, probably that is certainly something that they can achieve. Our chariots have once again entered the melee, especially over on the right flank, where there are not enough enemy sort of threatening units to, well, threaten same said chariots. And they can't stick around in combat directly for too long, so we're gonna just charge right through the biggest blob of enemies they can, and then probably try to stop short of the Storm Vermin with halberds, lest, you know, they lose more HP. And that's the ones with the banners. We also have these two other skeleton archer chariots which do not have the banners, and they're just making sure that the weapons teams are either destroyed or that they don't come back. Poisonman Globadiers, gotta be careful with those, as those anti-large projectiles will bring down the chariots if we're not careful. I think these guys are getting in each other's way a little bit. I'm gonna get a few more volleys up into the enemy and then just charge them directly while we continue to hold off the main enemy line. Fortunately, thanks to skirmish mode on the weapons teams, it's probably the better choice to just charge them rather than engage them in a ranged shootout. You guys seem fairly slow, but I think it's an illusion. They're 94 speed, so they are fairly quick, but yeah, with the Tomb King chariots, they have such a horrible tendency to get in each other's way that it's better to sort of micro every single unit of theirs individually rather than sort of micro them together. Otherwise, they just tend to slow each other down. Funnily enough, the same thing has a tendency to happen with, well, a lot of units. Like, war wagons have a tendency to get in each other's way, and funnily enough, I think war wagons are one of the only units that I've seen constantly get in their own way. Like, if you have only one unit of war wagons, the individual models of war wagons that comprise that unit occasionally smack into each other and then slow each other down. It's kind of bizarre. But anyway, the enemy army is pretty much done, though. Our Tomb Guard did manage to hold the enemy off, if just barely so, having taken a massive amount of damage, meaning it was a particularly good fight. Admittedly, the enemy brought plenty of decent units like those sensor bearers and storm vermin, and we did manage to make sure that we kept that casket of souls around. There we go. Very, very nice for very nice fight for Alcazar. Yeah, I think a couple of the Tomb Guard nearly melted away as well, together with that casket. The amount of damage that it took so quickly. But I guess we can remember from when we fought Kotep, and our Necrosphinx moved into the enemy casket and killed it in like 2 or 3 hits. Yeah, same sort of deal. Taste of our own medicine, I guess. Alrighty, there we go. Certainly a bit of a toughie for King Alcazar II. Gotta get him that mage, finally, but yeah, the Tomb Guard held, if just barely so, against the enemy, and I imagine that the chariots did quite a bit of work, though their damage was pretty much on par with the Tomb Guard, with a couple of exceptions who did really well. And I imagine, and yes, by the looks of it, the ones with the emblem of withering did better than the ones without. Alas, we just don't have space for additional ones, because we do have the need of the herald. Maybe it would be better to put a banner of burning... Banner of Eternal Flame, was it? These guys could benefit from it, although the range is rather short. I'll think about it. Either way, nice fight. We will go for occupying Guzur Mines, not for ourselves, would rather to trade to Teclis, and thus we will need to delete you, uncollect your income, and... how much will this be worth to you, I wonder? Just out of curiosity, how much is it worth to you right now? Giant Stomping Grounds versus Guzur Mines.
But must you plague me?
You'd be willing to do it if we give you 5k. You know what? That's actually fine. I like that. And the reason I like that is because we will... Okay, Storm of Necromancy. We'll be able to trade Bloodfen from these guys. Yes, and somehow if we could get the Golden Order territory as well, that would work out well. Yes. Alright, well, there's a lot of rats out here that we're going to have to fight. I'm willing to bet that if this is Clan Moors as well, they'll have armies here that probably will go to Dringo Karaz, so we gotta be careful. Probably a good idea then that we have the 2 armies out here. Not that we really care about the mountain territories, but we sort of gotta link up vassals, maybe even link up the elves, have the Teclis elves out here essentially. Link up with the Knights of Calador elves to act as our buffer states. Seems like the thing to do. Anyway, let's get back to whatever it was we were doing. And let's see, Khalida has moved. Does anybody else need to do anything? Jocked. Still waiting in case enemy armies arrive. Keepers don't need to move. Tutmos. Oh. Out of you guys, I think Tutmos is the one that we'll want to keep. I don't really care about the frenzy, but the targeting range for spells might be nice, and I don't dislike the death spells, in particular for Katep. He can cast the Hekara spells, and we can cast Spirit Leeches. Granted, we have access to a lot of Spirit Leeches from the Hyro Titans. In theory, we'd want a Light Mage and a Death Mage in his army. Would we have room for both? I don't know. One of these guys should be a Light Mage, right? Yeah. And that's a you. You're wise, though. And that doesn't really do anything for Katep. Oh, actually, speaking of mages, for like the 50th time, where is Alcazar? Alright, let's summon you a mage, shall we? We got Penitent, Evasion for Accompanying Lord versus Wise. I think Evasion for Accompanying Lord would be useful here, because you're kind of in trouble often on those chariots, I will admit. And you don't get evasion otherwise, so that does make it the distinct likelihood that you start losing melee combat. So, alright, we have access to Lich Priests of Shadow now, eh? Maybe we give one of these to Katep, because we don't have these elsewhere. Might be fun. Custodian isn't a bad option for him either, since he's pretty darn fragile. Alright, fine, we'll do Penitent here. And we'll immediately get you that Canopic, Hoarder, Jar Hoarder, Disciple of Assyrian, for obvious reasons. And then Restless Dead, Jeff's Incantation of Cursed Blades, into Patraz, into Evasion for you. And then obviously Skullstorm would be really quite helpful here. And then 1 point in Anti-Miscast. Alright, now you have your Mage, which maxes out your army. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get rid of the Screaming Skull Catapult. Maybe replace it eventually with a Casket of Souls. It would be nice. If we ever get a spare one. I'm not super enthused so far about the effectiveness of the Tomb Princes on those chariots. They don't seem to do all that much, but it is a Chariot and Tomb Guard army, and, well, the fact that it isn't relying on constructs to do the work means that it does have a tendency to run into tough fights, and we do enjoy tough fights, don't we? Anyway, who are you? Oh, these two. The only thing that makes me not want to delete them is the fact that they have higher, high levels. You know what, I'm gonna name them both Keepers for now, just so I don't have to look at them every turn, and then if we need a spare out here, we'll draw these guys, but otherwise maybe keep them there, we'll see. In Tef, oh right, the other... We're gonna go to Karakazgal. You're actually not gonna be useful here because it'll be a tier 4 anyway. Fricking... I hate you. Patraz Necrotect. Why are you like this? Yeah, they're just kind of not useful. Anyway. You are who again? Oh, right. You've actually ranked up a fair bit at this point, but I'm not so sure that we actually care about you, sir. I think we're just gonna let you get... Well... You know, stay there to just generate Canopic Jars, but most likely we won't be needing you. And then Katep, we're gonna have to make room for a Light Mage then as well, or a Shadow Mage, like I was saying. You don't have a healing potion yourself, do you? Not the item, but the ability. No, you don't. Alright, so that's fine. What I would like to check is, yeah, okay, so you only have the Lich Staff, the one item that you have. You do have a little bit of anti-leadership, which is nice, I guess. It's something, and the magic item drop chance is not too bad either. Alright, I guess you're going to Lost Ruins, so we'll summon a Lich Priest right here. Oh, we're out of capacity. Alright, fine, then we'll get rid of one of these. Alright, fine. You. You are another Death Lich Priest, and I believe we have several of these, so disband. And replace. And yes, we could have just woken one, but I didn't want to pay the additional Canopic Jars because it started to get pretty frickin' expensive. Custodian. Like so, for Katep, and we'll go for Canopic Jar Hoarder, Disciple of Assyrian, and into... Well, Penumbral Pendulum is what we really want here. Especially with the line of Tomb Guard to, you know, take advantage of it. I don't dislike the Withering, but we need, I believe, the second tier for it to become useful, don't we? Which is a little bit more expensive. But let's just do Penumbral Pendulum first and into Pit of Shades, and Earthing, and I guess Magical Reserve, so we can grab Arcane Conduit ASAP. Alrighty. And then you will get the other guy that's moving down here in a bit. Alright, looks good to me, at least for now. That's all the heroes, that's all the lords, and I believe we can freely end the turn, and if I'm forgetting something, well, I guess I'm just going to suffer for it next turn. Skip, 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 and turn. Alright, an Epidemius will indeed sally out to fight a WAKHAF. The Rotflies could potentially be quite annoying here, but they are just the regular Rotflies rather than the Plague Drones, which would be threatening. Although these guys have a higher tendency to go into melee than the Plague Drones do, so there is that to consider. Anyway, Pyrrhic Victory casualties high. I believe Epidemius confers an immunity to contact effects as his defeat trait, which is actually pretty nice. What does this do? Summons a unit of Nurglings, activates automatically when conditions are met. If a unit is not Lord or Hero and hit points go really, really low. Fair enough. Go. Alrighty, here we go. A WAKHAF once again fighting in the realm of Tzeentch, but this time fighting against the Nurglite here, and soon to face off against Epidemius himself. Enemy will start the battle off by summoning a unit of Plague Bearers, who are going to send WAKHAF and his Tomb Guard to deal with, while the rest of the enemy army is going to start taking hits from our Sepulchral Stalkers and our Skeleton Horse. Alright, gotta love the realm of Tzeentch though, looks absolutely magnificent. It's nice to get the occasional fight in here, even if it is annoying to move inside I guess, the realms of chaos in general, because of that immaterial sort of location that they have. You know, the climate, whatever. Meaning that it's all useless to us, but hey, we gotta find a book, so we're here. Anyway, the enemy will touch down with some Rotflies, who are apparently gonna go for a Skeleton Horse, but we're going to move our Necrotect in to debuff them with that Overwhelm, so that significantly lowers their weapon strength, while the Skeletal Horse pincushion them as best they can. Now, we have deployed in such a way where it's separated about a third of the enemy army from the slower elements of theirs, and taking advantage of the fact that the Plague Bearers are an extremely slow-moving unit, kind of like many undead are, though, you know, not in Hawkwar's army with his super speedy Nehekaran warriors, but anyway, the enemy will probably stand to lose a good quarter to a third of their force before the main army under Epidemius arrives, especially if they get slowed down by getting hit with those Skull Storms, which we can clearly see here has devastated 2 units of Plague Bearers. 1 regular and 1 exalted, and a unit of Nurglings as well, though that we admittedly care about a little bit less. And we have to take basically every advantage that we can here. WAKHAF may have been, acting as Settra's enforcer through the course of the campaign, but he is most definitely out of his element in the realm of the Sorcerer, or in the realms of Chaos in general. Gotta remember that he's the Desert Fighter, and his army generally has those buffs within the desert terrain, which we can't rely upon here. But it's all good. Trust in WAKHAF. He likes a good fight, as we saw when he fought that tree man. Anyway, WAKHAF moves towards the enemy Plague-ridden and has him down to about half of its HP already. But it's Epidemius who will give us the real fight, who is slowly but surely moving on. And 27 move speed, sticking together with the Plague Bearers and other slow units. That said, while a lot of the enemies are coming in from the front, the enemy did sort of loop around this little crystal tower, whatever, Tzeentchian tower that they've got. And we've got 4 or 5 units looping around. So we're going to have the Guards of Ra guard that particular entrance or pathway towards the rest of our army, and protect the Biting Sands and the WAKHAF's Hunters and the other Skeleton Horse. Another Skull Storm will come down in sort of in the blob of the enemy, but very close to our own units, so we do have to be careful. We'll counteract that a little bit with the Neru's Incantation of Protection, as it does offer a little bit of fire resistance. And we do have fire damage coming in out of that Skull Storm. Alright, in the meantime, somewhere in here, WAKHAF faces off against Epidemius. There they are. Oh, WAKHAF's actually lost about 25% of his HP at this point. Admittedly, he's surrounded also by armor-piercing Plague Bearers and piles of Nurglings. But with his healing, I'm perfectly happy to just leave him there. He'll take damage, but I don't believe that he's likely to go down. There we go. In fact, he might have just healed up more than he was last time that we looked at him. And just keep up the duel while we deal with the rest of the enemy. Another Plague Ridden has come down to try to go after our Lich Priest, but though the Lich Priest is extremely light on HP, he can keep the Plague Ridden locked in place while the Skeleton Horse pincushion it and take it down, bringing it to the ground from that Rotfly. The enemy's left flank has at this point completely collapsed, which is allowing our units of Sepulchral Stalkers to fire into the back and flanks of those Nurglings and Plague Bearers that are still in the fight. WAKHAF versus EPIDEMIUS continues. But the balance of power has shifted to about 90% in our favor, and the battle is starting to go our way. Now, I think these Exalted Plague Bearers wanted to go after the Skeleton Horse here, but they've decided to reposition themselves and fire into the flanks and or rear of the Guards of Ra instead, which I guess does make sense, as the Nurglings and Plague Bearers or whatever was attacking them previously was certainly not getting through. I really like this lighting, the sort of reddish glow that our skeletons are getting in the realm of Tzeentch here. Blue skies, reddish glow, but it's working. Anyway, looks like EPIDEMIUS is done for, brought down by WAKHAF, and by the looks of it, at least a few arrows from the Skeleton Horse. As soon as EPIDEMIUS no longer had his coterie of Plague Bearers in to help him out, WAKHAF was able to cut him down. Would have been a lot faster if WAKHAF had magical damage, but I feel like, again, the Blade of Antarhawk and that hunger that he has is probably more important. We'll see how he performs, though, over time. If we give him an Ouroboros and regeneration, maybe he won't need the hunger as well. I mean, I guess it also depends on how often he'll be fighting demonic foes. Either way, with that, the last of the enemy begin melting away. One last unit of Plague Bearers will get charged by the Grand Protectors here, taking arrows to the back, at least those arrows that we have left, because we're basically out of ammunition. Which does make sense again. Lots of physical resistance on the enemy army and no magical damage. One wave farewell from this particular Plague Bearer, and with that, the battle is ours. Very nice. Alright, a very nice fight with EPIDEMIUS there, and it was a lot closer than it may have seemed. Almost all of our Tomb Guard were down to about 50% of their HP, but weren't losing their models too much, so that worked out well for them. Our Skeleton Horse Archers were nearly all completely out of ammunition, and several of our Sepulchral Stalkers were severely damaged. EPIDEMIUS himself managed to at least hold WAKHAF off, but otherwise not do too much damage to him, though it did take a long time to sort of work his blades through all that plague-ridden blubber. Otherwise, the Rotflies were certainly a threat, and obviously the Plague Bearers with their damage, especially the Exalted variant, 10,000 and 8,000 on these two, for example. Either way, it was just a matter of grinding the enemy down, which we managed to do. As for who did the best, in the very center of our formation, it's the Sepulchre Sentinels, followed by the Guards of Ra, or together with the Guards of Ra. The Sepulchre Sentinels had a little bit less in the way of kills, or damage dealt, rather, just a tiny bit, but nearly or more than twice as much damage dealt as gold value. Being in the center probably meant that they were fighting more elite troops by virtue of it. Biting Sands and WAKHAF's Hunters built did reasonably well, but without magical damage to rely upon, and thus damage the demonic forces. That was certainly tough, and the Sepulchral Sentinels always do fantastic, with this time, by the looks of it, the Solid Stone Snakes just in the lead. Occupy and get the 6 of 8 Books of Nagash. Ally mission successfully. Yes, alright, now we want... Ooh, hello. Oh, EPIDEMIUS also gives a little bit of research. Well, that's lovely, but the immunity contact effects will make Mr. WAKHAF an even better duelist. Settra has reached King of Kings, and has thus now a very significant buff against any Chaos forces should he decide to fight any. Should we want to go on an extraordinarily long journey up north to find Surthak, there would be demons up there, but yeah. Anyway, Settra, good for you. Scroll of shielding, not so relevant, but the... What? What? Are you kidding me? Did these guys just immediately transfer this location? What garbage Tzeentchian faction. And it made us... caused us to suffer attrition, too. That's garbage. Store of new regional power. Settlement transferred. Yes, indeed. It's such a stupid frickin' thing. Whatever. Improves the rarity of items gained in battle. Swell, though. That's a nice book in Nagash. And Khemri War Sphinx for King Manchaos. I don't know where he is. Okay, so clearly, there is another Tzeentchian faction to be destroying. We will want to find said Tzeentchian faction and immediately declare war on them. And you know what I like? They do this as soon as we show up. What this indicates is that all the Tzeentchian factions basically save those abilities on purpose. They never use them on any other faction, clearly, and they just save them to use them on the player instead, which, I don't know, man. Wait, how do they transfer the settlement? We see no other Tzeentchian factions. Weird. We're at war with all of them, which is supposed to not let them do that. It couldn't be the puppets of Misrule, could it? I don't think they have access to the settlement transfer, do they? Weird. I'm not entirely sure. I wish the game would actually also tell you who it was, because who the heck would have vision down here? Well, either way, it's irritating. Anyway, which is this? This is a Slaaneshi faction, eh? Do we care enough about the territory here to immediately take it and raise it? Not so much, to be perfectly honest. I don't really want to deal with them seducing our units. Do we even have anything that's anti-seduction? I feel that we do not. I mean, we got what we wanted out of here. I think we're gonna ignore this. I mean, if this has had a full garrison, then it would be worth fighting, but like this, not so much. Now let's pop into Beneath the Sands, make our way out of the realm of the sorcerer. We will, however, stop on by briefly at the Eyrie of the Watcher and fight some Khornates just because we can. Otherwise, we don't really care. Might want to stop on by and raise a couple more of these Tzeentchian settlements just because screwed Tzeentch, but yeah, no. Anyway, Settra, you are going to quickly take Nagash's arrow. Oh, maybe not so good. Oh, for the love of... Worms is going to Magrikon, which they will presumably besiege. We don't have another army to deal with them. I mean, we could send one of these armies down here. Oh, it's Worms that's occupying this place rather than the other guys, eh? Well... I guess we could leave Guzur Mines as they are, then. Pop in the open graves, and oh, darn, I should have stopped the deletion of that particular thing. Oh well, I want King Alcazar, then, instead to move towards Dringo Karaz. We will want Menkar here to pop into his army. In a second. As soon as he stopped moving, there he goes. Alrighty, and now you have an actual mage. Alright, then Hakor will take Karakazgal. You will act as a scout, I guess, and move down here. And Pyrrhic Victory, is this worth fighting? Only a single stack. I don't know. I'll think about it. I do like the fact that it's an elite stack, but it will be a garrison structure, or the settlement, meaning we'd probably have to just bombard them into submission. Not quite as fun as a field battle, generally speaking, but I'll think about it. There are some decent units in there, after all. Anyway, Settra, I don't think you're going to backtrack, so you're just going to hit Nagashazar anyway. Now, let's see what's here. And I want to see if it's a different faction altogether. It is Clan Rikek. Okay, wait, cancel this for a sec. Oh, wow, Nagashazar is not a tier 5. Go figure. You guys have just the 2 settlements, and it looks like most of their... Yeah, okay, so they have 2 stacks at the Chant of Crippled Peak, but otherwise, no. Are you allied with anybody? Nope, you're... funnily enough, they're fighting Worms and Stonefang, both of which we were gonna fight. And we probably could have made them our allies, but frankly our other allies would have probably gotten really upset about it, so just take negotiations or whatever. All good. Another war declaration for our vassals. Though a brief one. Alrighty, and this one for Settra's army is obviously not worth fighting, so we'll just auto-resolve it. Yeah, it'll do horrendous damage to our army, but again, not much we can do. This is going to be tier 5, so I think we'll have to grow the place as much as possible. Let us go for a skeletal garrison immediately. Keep the funerary district for now. Would it be faster, I wonder, to just upgrade the mausoleum anyway, regardless of the fact that we're near it? Well, no, wait, you know what? We'll probably wait for the Tomb City to tier 4 and build as many growth building structures as we could. 15% extra movement, eh? Well, keep it for now. Khemri and War Sphinx for somebody somewhere. Alright, next up... Oh, did we get a new Herald? What did we just construct? Oh, we constructed Curios of Divinity. Let's do the Sepulchral Stalker buff. Well, actually... Well, yeah, let's do the Sepulchral Stalker buff. And then the War Sphinx buff. I don't want to get bogged down to these because we have a lot of even basic sort of military techs that we haven't done yet. But, you know, we shall see. Panat, you having... Oh! They do have 2 armies, eh? Oh, they're probably going to be able to reach Malaluk Dunes, though this is a giant peasant mob. Cute. Anyway, oh, Malaluk Dunes is the one with the... You can't slow down armies, can you? No, you can only assault units. Well, go for it, Mr. Temp. Do you have any... No, it's already maxed out. Alright, fair enough. I was wondering if you could do more damage with it. I'm tempted to go... Success, hey! Wow, that hurt them quite a lot. I imagine you wouldn't be able to reach both. If you go here, you wouldn't be able to reach the other. But give it a try. Let's go for Mariam Thurgard. And auto-resolve this because it's just a giant pile of garbage peasants. Which will, of course, still do an unnecessary amount of damage. So let's take on this march for the additional movement range and hope that we can... we can reach this anyway. And you can keep the healing potion for now. We don't have these spare canopic jars to turn them into other things. And that should knock out the Ganzeran tree for good. We'll stay in our own territory, so in this march again. Accursed armor. Ooh, oh, I was really hoping to get this armor piece in the Thorat the Unclean campaign, and we get it here. Okay. Not that it's a bad thing that we got it, it's just, I don't know, upsetting that I really wanted this for Thorat. Hotep, that's you. Oh, you don't need speed, you certainly don't need melee attack. But you can use 200 armor. That plus regeneration should make you pretty darn hard to kill, even if enemies move towards you on that that casket of souls of yours. So accursed armor for you. You are now at 14 speed, so you're not repositioning yourself. And yeah, should we? Well, he's not gonna need. These are kind of useless because we have so many easy sources of regen. But anyway. Keep the Fencer's Blades for now, but I'll probably think about what to give you otherwise. Alright, so he's up to 280 armor. His HP is still relatively low, but with 70 melee defense, 280 armor, a little bit of shielding, actually a little bit more shielding thanks to the war drums, I think he'll be tanky enough for our purposes. When I played Kotep, I got him the Sword of Cain, which was pretty funny. But anyway, the Blight, the Infectious, and the... Mangrove Port, you're ready. Sotex Trail, or these guys. Mangrove Port, plus trade agreement, plus join war against Clan Festerlingus, equals vassalization. And we got ourselves a little lizard friend now. Good job sticking around and staying alive there, Oshiotla. You get pets. Alrighty. Alright. Then we will probably want to grab him. Well, we'll get all this territory for him. So, yeah. Go for Village of the Leopard Skins. Let's see what we got out here. Basically nothing. Auto-resolve. And a little enough damage. Ooh, Sacred Eye goes on you. Shrieking Blade. Good. Occupy. Kingdom of the Beasts, and we will immediately upgrade you and immediately transfer you over to Ashiotla next turn. Lamazash, keep that item. I believe we can find one that increases your range damage. Now, I am curious. Ooh, I didn't do the mission check, did I? Yeah, I did not, because I'm stupid. King Esphere. Ooh, looks like you're moving this way. Interesting. What about King Ramateb the Visionary? Oh, he's not an option. Not even with the Agents of the Moon? No, no dice. Alright, we'll take a Rough Belly Rot then. Rough Belly Rot. Rough Belly Rot, although the elves are pretty useless, unfortunately. Oh! This guy's moving to the Gate of the Stars. And this is why we need bigger buffer states. Toxer, I guess we'll take Toxer. And then the Jade Court. I was hoping for Rough Belly Rot, but oh well. Let's go Toxer as well. Hopefully we catch him. We do have armies out here. Alright. Yeah, this is clearly going to be something of an issue. We will probably have to peel away one of the armies down here to move towards them. Maybe this army, because it's going to be staying here for a little bit and recruiting, so we should probably take advantage of the fact that it's going to be closer to their direction, Disciple of Assyrian, please. And you pop on in here. Oh, lovely, there we go. Now you have 2 Lich Priests, and you're at 20 out of 20. I don't know whether we'll keep all the carrion, but we shall see. And then we'll give you a bunch of war banners, specifically to buff the armor of the carrion. Man, they're so ridiculously fragile, even with the relatively decent melee defense that they have. But what can you do? Alrighty. Alrighty, so we need to kill off all of these guys. So you can reinforce just for the XP. I'm not entirely sure that we actually care about you leveling, but set up. You can go here. Kill this little rebel army. It's better not damage us. How in the world is this damaging us? Wow, and it... Yeah, the auto-resolve hates these scorpions. We saw that with the Scorpion King. They keep getting obliterated. It's kind of obnoxious. Huh, go figure. Oh well, I guess then you can't reinforce or those scorpions will die. You can chase this down. This guy will run, and then we won't be able to reach this place, unfortunately. Katep's moving this way, so we'll just leave these guys to the Skithman's Oasis. Anyway, kill this. I can't believe the Scorpions went from full HP to 1 HP with that. That was... You gotta admit, that's pretty silly. But anyway, we'll use that army to recruit a new army. That'll be the Contact Effect army. Admittedly, we already have lots of Contact Effects in various armies, so it's not the most critical, which is kind of why I didn't mind really leaving it to later. You can reach this. Do you actually care about these Scorpions surviving? We could just rebuild them. I really don't want to manually fight this because it's a waste of time. Are you able to reach Lost Ruins? Yes. Alright, so you can head here. Let's see if the auto-resolve kills off your Tomb Barks. I am quite curious about that. Yes, it will. Okay. Well, that's a shame. Probably means... Oh, but I really like the Tomb Barks as support in this particular army. Okay, might have to manually fight that. Maybe I'll do it between the episodes or maybe now, depending. You are supposed to join Katep's army, yes? So go do that. You're the Lich Priest of Shadows, so he'll have access to... I mean, we could always do another one, but he's kind of run out of space this way. Wait, was there something else that I was missing? Huh. Oh, he's going to need a second casket. Oh, right, I wanted 4 Hydro Titans rather than 5, because 5 seems like a little bit much. They're tier 5 units, it's ridiculous. We'll deal with 4. And then we'll have to move the other Lich Priest, which is you, Tutmos, all the way down here to hopefully meet up with Katep. Anyway, this... Wait, are you able to march stance? You are, but I'm not sure that she can actually reach the place to reinforce. Can ya? Oh, you can. Go, go, go. The Heket, and... Oh, don't kill the Scorpions, it'll just leave them with 1 HP as they currently are. Well, isn't that something? Auto-resolve. Alrighty, and Potion of Farsight will turn into something useful, hopefully. You can go into Worship of Construction Reduction, immediately upgrade yourself here, and build a Parched Oasis, as well as... keep the Funerary District for now. I would like you, Seheket, then, to take the next 5 turns, just sitting here and getting those Guardians of the Alabaster Tower, since they're very far. You will build those for Katep. And we'll make use of the Skeleton Warrior Bright Shields in... Well, not the Contact Effect army, but... I could use them there temporarily, or some other army. I will consider it. Also, we now have... Okay, you're supposed to go into the Contact Effect army. You... maybe we'll use the axes together with the archers. I mean, admittedly, with the archers, it's probably better to use Spokal Stalkers as melee. I'll think about it. I will continue to do so anyway. You, Scorpion King, you are going to besiege here at Doomglade Swamp. And close defeat, you say? That is 2 stacks. I'm willing to give him a chance to sally out. Look at that. That's a very solid tier 5 garrison. Lots of elites. I like it. I do imagine that we have a few points, though, because we've been sort of running around doing stuff. Now, post-battle loot versus... okay, yes, post-battle loot. Assyrian's Rage versus Exercise Restraint. Missile resistance versus missile damage and weapon strength. I'm gonna say missile damage and weapon strength. Power up the Scorpions a little bit. Yeah. And then here we have Favor the Lich Priest, Casualty or Punishment Rate versus Construction Cost. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Here we have Enemy Armor Reduction for all enemies versus a little bit of Vigor Loss and a little bit of Fire Resistance. That's kind of hard to say. We have armor-piercing weapon damage on most of the units here, admittedly. Yes. A tiny amount of vigor loss. I wonder, do we have any other vigor loss reductions from anything? As in, can we combine that with anything? Because if we can't, the 10% alone is probably not worth it. As powerful as Vigor is in SFO. I'm going to say reduce the enemy armor. And then, oh, you need to be rank 30 for either Indomitable. Yeah, Indomitable. Alright, well, you can be rank 30. In the meantime, we have Arrows of SF and Sun-Scorched Bones here. We don't have the buffs for the Chariots, which we admittedly don't care about, but we do care about the buffs for... Wait a moment. You guys are part of SF, so yeah, it's just a Scorpion, so let's do Stone Sentinels, I guess. And, oh, you're right, you guys need banners. You know what, I think it's time. The Scorpion army deserves it. And it's going to be 4 Emblems of Withering. 1, 2... Please, faster. 3, also Slaneshi Giggle, and 4. Alright, good. And then you can have those. It will mean losing probably a Tombfleet Taskmaster. Alright, so keep your 1 icon of the Sacred Die and lose these guys. Obviously keep the Herald of the Scorpion. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 4 Scorpions, all of which have names in this army. Good. Alright, who's next while you besiege? Oh, wait, do we need to... How much levels do we have on you guys? 4? Alright, that's not bad. Arcane Conduit, Magical Reserves. Let's get a couple points in Usek's Incantation of Desiccation. And then the Necrotect, I assume, has buffed up the Scorpions to max, but can still buff the Giants. So we'll do Empower the Titans. These we don't need to touch. We'll go for a True Grandmaster, and then we'll grab you the Ceremonial Bandages. Probably could have gone for the increased mobility, but I think we'll be okay. Alright, so, who is next? That's you. Footep is... oh, hello, little army. But a pretty weak one, unfortunately. Unfortunately for them. I mean, they do have a Necrosphinx and a Bone Giant, and we could still... could still fight them, just for fun. Because we'll probably auto-resolve the Gateway of Eternity. In fact, there's no probably about it. Not like we fought a lot with this army. Alright, fine. Let us do... let's see what we got here. It's basically only the 2 Sphinx types, so only the Ancient Stone is needed, but we have to... oh, Sun-Scorched Bones is a waste. You know what, grab Neru... well, actually, it wouldn't apply to this particular fight. We could get Xar the Faceless, and none of this would be helpful either, unfortunately. Virtuous King. Oh, hero capacity for all heroes. Actually, yes, we do want that. And... let's go Blessed by the Asp. Why not? Alright, do we want to level the Tomb Princes? They all have some levels. Alright, fine. Woundmaker, Desert Strike. If you're wondering why we have so many points unleveled, it's because we built those buildings all over the place that give us additional XP per turn, so every turn we get like half a free level for every single character in the faction, which is why it's doing that. Which is a good thing, obviously. Anyway, Conqueror. I missed one of the Tomb Princes. Alright, one of you... did I reset the one? I think I did. You. Grab this stuff. Good. And then Tomb Prince, go figure. Bombed in Elixir, Ceremonial Bandages. Looks good to me. Necrotect. You have Spring the Trap and Graceful Constructs, which is the 2 of the Sphinxes. I guess we could go for some of these now. Yeah, why not? 1, 2, and... well, get Trapped Soul. These guys are fairly fragile, after all. Even with the Disciple of Soktan. Oh, you actually want to max this out. Lovely. Assuming that we keep the Necrosphinxes in this army, because they're kind of iffy in terms of the auto-resolve not liking them, probably due to them being faster? I don't know. Anyway, Sekhmets and both of these. And I believe we're good to go. So, hit up King Ramotep now. Who will run. And apparently run pretty far. Ooh, there'll be a little bit of a Sphinx fight. Okay, so you have the hunger. Maybe I should give you an actual regen item. Let's get you the... Not this. Ouroboros, craft. There goes all of our jars once again. Out of curiosity, how much jars would we have to save for another army? 15,000. We don't care about the 190,000 gold because we make 100,000 now. Nowhere close to the, I don't know, was it 6 million or 8 million per turn that we were getting in the Dwarves campaign, which was pretty ridiculous. Talisman of Preservation, Ouroboros, and basic armor. Well, technically we'd want to craft an armor for you, so I'm just going to ignore it, I think. Alright, good enough. And oh, you're going to need banners as well, ain't ya? Huh. Now, one of your banner spots will be taken up by the Herald of the Sphinx, which we don't have yet. To get even more Sphinx armor. We could maybe... Well, if we do the banners of Withering on these guys, they will have a contact effect as well. That's probably the best way to do it. Make them even more heavily armored. These guys already have one of these, so it's probably no waste of time. Anyway, I digress. Let's attack. Pyrrhic victory, you say. We'll see about that. Go. Alright, here we go. Tomb King and Cathian constructs once again working in concert, though the last time we faced off against these guys, the enemy had a lot more constructs of their own, which I guess they don't have here. Too bad for them. Let's see how our monsters do against the enemy when they don't have more than, I guess, 3 big boys to rely upon. And admittedly, only half of our army is constructs, right? The other half is just piles of heroes, Tomb Princes and all that. Anyway, 2 units, or the 2 Tomb Kings actually, move towards each other on their War Sphinxes. And begin their clash. We move another War Sphinx, a Gilded Cat, towards the Bone Giant. That probably could have activated the sort of anti-range, the missile mirror from the Jet Lions, but I guess it wasn't really needed. It's not like it was going to do too much damage to the Bone Giant, and it was kind of tied up rather quickly anyway. Alright, well, the clash begins once again with the sort of Tomb King versus Tomb King clashes. One of the reasons I wanted to avoid it with the Mahrak faction, and this is also just because, well, again, it's very difficult to see what the heck is going on in the sense that whose units are who, even if it is fun to see the occasional monster clash or construct clash. And we gotta bring down Zandri as well, because they're holding a pyramid, which is part of our victory conditions, so, yeah, no. Limit it where we can, since there are places where we cannot. Alright, otherwise though, the bounce power is at about 85, maybe closing in, well, not yet, but 85% in our favor. The enemy still has a fair few horse and infantry units around, but their constructs are in trouble. The enemy Tomb King down to 20% of his HP, the Bone Giant down to 25, and the healthiest enemy unit, the Necrosphinx, is down to about 40-45% of its own. And we got a couple of our own Necrosphinxes to deal with it if we should need to. Plus just plenty of Sphinxes and cats of various kinds, generally speaking. Alright, and down goes the Necrosphinx, the last focus down by multiple Sphinxes of ours. The Bone Giant will take one more hit from the arm blades of a Necrosphinx and will topple as well. At least this way we get to see the death animations of the various Tomb King units, which we obviously don't often see in our own faction. Anyway, with all of the constructs destroyed, we have a vast construct superiority. And again, we do have 3 or 4, all of the 5 Tomb Princes in this particular army, but they're kind of tiny, so it's kind of hard to pick them out. But they're in there. They're in there and they're fighting. They're doing things. Alright, 27 kills on Prince Ratek, for example. Not horrible. And 4.5k damage. I mean, you gotta do something. I just figured if we were gonna go for like an insane amount of constructs here, we don't want to make too strong of an army, hence the pile of Tomb Princes. They will each one sort of travel together with each Sphinx, as in that's why we have 5 War Sphinxes and 5 Tomb Princes. If the army should need to fight sort of a massive blob of enemies and sort of separate our units rather than Death Star them, then all of the Tomb Princes and War Sphinxes can go up on their own and do their own thing. Anyway, and just a couple chariots left and whatever other elements of the enemy are melting away, but it won't last for too much longer either. We did pop a missile mirror on the Skeleton Archer chariots, and it looks like the AI was smart enough to recognize that missile mirror was on and simply sent the unit into melee instead. Ranged chariot though it is. That, however, unfortunately for them, simply sped up their demise. With that, another army belonging to the Guardians of the Valley will fall. Oh, like a little entrance into the side of the mountain here. Nice. Alright, free Highborn of Khemri, which doesn't really do anything for us anymore, but, well, not that it ever really did, but anyway. Lovely little fight. Our constructs vastly superior to the enemy army, unsurprisingly, compared to the last time this army fought. The enemy had a lot more constructs, which does make sense. We'll take the Endless March, and ooh, for the performance, at 18.9k Anka, just slightly beats out the Khafri Reanimated, though with considerably more damage dealt as gold value. I gotta point out, both of the Necrosphinxes did well, and all of the jet lines, surprisingly, were pretty solid. In fact, matching the damage, at least, of most of the War Sphinxes, or at least being pretty close, which in and of itself is pretty darn impressive. Endless March for you, please. Alrighty, and... Other than Prince Ratek, okay, oh, right, we have one guy being reset, but maybe we will name the princes in this one. So Ramses, the man in gauze, and yes. Hey, it fit. Alright, you can be Little Bone, and you can be Ardith Bay? Okay. And, oh, right, the fourth one is, yeah. I just said that. Come on, Ruinous, what are you doing? Alright, Necrotech check, well, I'm sure we'll need it for some other armies, but I think we'll be fine for now. Are you able to now move towards Gateway of Eternity? No, that army took us out of the way of it. Alright, well, what can you do? Go into raiding stance. Right here for a turn. These guys ain't gonna be happy about it. Maybe it would have been better to just heal instead. Can you Entomb Beneath the Sands? No. If you go into regular stance, though, you can go here. And full HP in our own territory. Why? Because I would like to make sure that we can auto-resolve this. What are we saving this? We are not. And I don't think we need the Crypt Barracks here anymore either. Frankly, we won't need the defenses soon either. Also, how are you doing? They've taken Charnel Road. Let's see if they can occupy Baramas. If they could deal with this as well, then we won't have to do anything else. These guys starting to dislike us, go figure. Alright, anybody else need to move? I do believe we have, what, 2 battles when we end the turn? On Jock, you're just gonna kind of keep sitting there. Keepers don't need to move for obvious reasons. You guys remain... Oh, I gotta try to remember to raise this so we can occupy it. Okay, you go out here and scout for us, or maybe out here and scout. Need to figure out what's going on. And then this place, I assume will not be tradable this turn because we need to wait. Hopefully there isn't an army to move on, immediately retake it. And we shall see. Alright, come on, go scout this. S-Fair. Considering how far they move, they actually do work as scouts pretty darn well. If only they didn't take Necrotech capacity. Precious, precious Necrotech capacity. Anyway, Guzzer Mines once again for Giant Stomping Grounds. You willing? No. Honestly, I'd be willing to give him like 50,000 gold, but he's not willing to do that. We just gotta wait until the military structure rebuilds, and hopefully we can do that. All with a purpose to vassalize the Kislevites and the Golden Order out here without, you know, declaring war on them and killing them all. Royal Burial Chamber, we still have to do building, and the Hidden Sanctum. Where is this, by the way? Red Cloud Mountains. Yeah, okay, you're far enough away from the sort of borders of our faction wherein you are not super likely to get attacked. And we'll just leave you alone. Scarab City, that's Numas. You are waiting to be tier 5'd up, so we can do nothing here. Sour Crags, however, is free to get some upgrades. Like so. And City of Scholars, Libaras, yes to the tier 5. More of those lovely tomb parks, especially since we have an army based around them now. And we will want to get the Fated Pyramidion here, so that we can build the buildings here. Alright, here you can go for the Undead Quarrymen, and then this stuff will be deleted once we've dealt with the Skaven. Just gotta remember to do it, really. Alright, Golden Plain, yes, upgrade everything you can. Alright, at least the... yeah, upgrade this. Still don't know whether we'll delete it, but whatever. At least the building admin, is pretty easy now. Do we still need this? I mean, these guys are our vassals now, but I'm not entirely sure whether we'll keep them as... Oh! It's decreasing now, huh? Huh, I thought it would be rising instead. Well, if that's the case, we may have to betray them. I figured that... Okay, wait. Let me just see. Was this a bad idea? Where are our treaties? So, yeah, Cult of Mordig is disliking us by... I mean, if it's -90 and it's going lower, it's a pretty big deal. Everybody else is fine, though. Everybody else is happy. Man, they're disliking us despite the fact that they're at war with, like, 8 million factions? Why? So, they like the treaties with the Jade Court and Agents of the Moon. Presumably, they thus dislike the treaties with Mahrak, which makes sense due to aversion to other undead. Ghosts of Pawash, again, similar. And then all the elves. Yeah, it's a fair amount. Yeah, looks like this won't work, unfortunately. We'll give it a couple more turns, see if it starts rising, but if it don't... Man, and all the other factions seem to be fine with them, or at least relatively fine with them. It's these guys that are being annoying. I really wanted some of those Cairn Wraiths. Oh well. Let's keep looking through the buildings. Cursed City. Did I already do you? I don't think I did. Let's go for the Crumbling Temple here and upgrade this Pyramidion. Here, though, we will build a Treasure Tomb. And then here we... Okay, well, we'll have to wait. Kalita is recruiting her new army to go after Mr. Arbal the Undefeated. And should be ready to go pretty darn quickly. I'm excited to see how the Bone Giants fare, and if the Tomb Barks keep dying to auto-resolves, we'll just replace them. With more snakes or with more giants, it doesn't matter, as long as we can actually use auto-resolve in that army. Game do be silly like that sometimes. This is the border of our territory, so we're actually going to build the Ushabti with Great Bow, Ushabti building, as it will allow us to, have a better garrison here. Because Tomb King garrisons in minor settlements are absolutely atrocious. It will mean, skipping the, whatchamacallums. Yeah, the Pyramidions, we won't have room to, build them or bother with them. And frankly, we're making plenty of cash. It's not like it's super critical right now. Tree of Beards, I'm going to upgrade this just so I don't have to look at it. It's not like the gold is going anywhere. And you, Restored Tomb, you're just going to have to start going up to tier 5. Slowly but surely. Skithin's Oasis, we just did ya. And... I mean, I guess we could build another growth building here, at least temporarily. I'm going to upgrade you just so I don't have to look at you. Similar reasons. Galbaraz and Razor Clam Coast. We will definitely want to build all military structures here, as we will be trading you to our allies for other territories. Here, we will want to upgrade both of the crumbling temples like so, and then start working on our little ancient buildings, whatever. You can, I guess, hold on to the Regnant Catacombs until you can get your own Pyramidion, and soon you can start collecting money. Magrikhan. I guess upgrade the Restored Tomb. Let's see if you survive. Tempted to go for a quick little Ushabti building just to add the additional defenders. These guys will besiege us, but I don't know whether they'll actually be able to take the place. War Sphinx, Necro Sphinx. You know what? Go for the Damage Hierotitan statue for the Hierotitan garrison. It's probably the better pick. And then Gates and Nagashazar, we may as well upgrade you. I mean, or wait until yeah, we'll just wait until Nagash our upgrades, it's fine. Alright, and Dragonhorn Mines, I'm going to ignore you, which means, other than the siege equipment here, we are ready to end the turn and fight in at least 2 locations, possibly more. Well, let's find out. Skip, skip, here not moved, I'm going to assume we moved, oh, we didn't move the scout. Prince Scout the First.
Father's son.
Up here.
No.
You're gonna have to go up and find Boris.
Next time we move.
Nearly there. There you go, bud. And then turn. Alright, it looks like the rats will sally out to go for the scorpions, and ooh, they even moved another little army in to reinforce. 2.5 stacks of rats. We had a little bit of trouble with them last time with this army. Let's see how well they do now. Scorpions are at least power up. They've got their herald, so that additional bonus versus infantry up to 45, and now they apply sundering armor plus have a bonus armor to themselves. They're pretty tanky, and well, we'll see whether the Revenants of Gold Dust and the other Tomb Guard can hold. Go.
Curse them all.
Alrighty, here we go. Let's see if we can pull this off. Outnumbered 2.5 stacks to 1. Let's see if the Scorpion King and his favored scorpions can carry the day. These guys are pretty tanky, though their HP isn't actually anything crazy. They're about on par in terms of HP with the Tombbarks, interestingly enough. And we've seen the Tombbarks get absolutely torn to shreds by enemy missile fire. Though, let's see, 10, 10, and 10 on the ward, missile, and physical resistance on the Scorpions as well. But they do have a solid armor, as well as that sort of annoying burrow ability that they have. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off by moving up to the hill, which means we can't get our artillery firing on the enemy, but we can obviously fire off a spell, so Skullstorm will come down in the blob of enemies, while the enemy starts firing their artillery at us. This means the beginning of an artillery shootout as our Bone Giants face off against the Warp Lightning Cannons, who have 7 kills to their name already. I think they were actually firing at the Bone Giants this entire time, but the occasional shot will go stray and then smash into our Tomb Guard, which ain't so great for us. And just gotta keep firing away at them and all those Plague Claw catapults, as otherwise they're going to be a major threat to the rest of our army. One more unit, one more Warp Lightning, there we go, down goes the last of the Warp Lightnings, and now we just have to work through all the Plague Claws of those 2 units with our Bone Giants, hopefully before too many of the enemy close the distance. We can see that the Plague Claws are doing damage, however. Our first unit of Tomb Guard's down to half HP, and the other one's lost about 10, 15, 20%, something along those lines, and it looks like the enemy army is approaching now. They do have a fair few weapons teams in addition to the artillery, Death Globes, Poison Winds. I've seen 2 or 3 of the enemy units of the Warp Fire Throwers as well, so we're going to do our best to target them with artillery, and now do our best to distract as many of the enemy as possible, and by sending out as many, or all of our Scorpions as distractions, essentially, way ahead of the rest of our army. Keep control of the hill, essentially, for our artillery to continue engaging the enemy, and the Scorpions should hopefully be able to draw 2 or 3 enemy units each. We gotta do our best to work with as many, we'll tie up as many enemy units with a single unit of ours as possible everywhere on the map, since we're so horribly outnumbered. Just the name of the game when fighting the rats. And even the Tombbarks are going to just have to function in a similar manner here, and tie the enemy up rather than simply providing support to the Tomb Guard. Alright, there we go. We've engaged at the very least this army. Ooh, one of our Scorpions is tearing that Packmaster to shreds, which does make sense. Packmasters are pretty fragile. Our Lord has moved to shadow the enemy Hellpit Abomination and is currently in a fight with it. Sphinx versus Horrific Monstrosity. While the enemy Plague Claws, first one has been deprived of artillery pieces, and the second one has 6 out of 8 remaining. The Bone Giants continue in their shootout against the enemy artillery as best we can, get another Skull Storm coming down in a blob of enemies, partially to do damage and partially to keep them away from our front lines for that extra second longer. Over all the way on the left flank, we see Death Runners facing off against Settra's Chosen, the unit of Tomb Guard, and we've seen previously that the Death Runners will tear them to shreds if we're not careful. But a Jeff's incantation of Cursed Blades has allowed the Settra's Chosen to out-damage the fragile Death Runners, despite the fact that we're the Halberd variant. Alright, a unit of Rat Ogres apparently wants to surround death from below, and the Scorpion is happy to take the damage from them, while more Halberdier wielding, or Halberdier rather, Halberdier wielding. I'm just imagining a Tomb Guard picking up an Imperial Halberdier and swinging him around, just halberd and all. Hey, if it works, it works. Anyway. Deal with the Rat Ogres with the Tomb Guard halberds. Man, what an epic fight, though. Big old fight across the entire battlefield. Still no Realm of Souls yet, of course. Because it's just impossible. Yeah, going through the entire campaign, Realm of Souls has been pretty much useless throughout the course of the campaign, hasn't it? Go figure. I think it needs some looking at. Hopefully, I assume that they're going to do something with the Tomb Kings, as in the devs will probably give them a few other units and something at some point. Not going to leave them in their current state. Again, you have to remember that Tomb Kings and Lizardmen were released at the same time. Since then, I believe Tomb Kings have gotten 1 extra unit and Lizardmen have gotten like a dozen. Like, the changes are just ridiculous by comparison. Funnily enough, Lizardmen used to be my least favorite faction to play on release because I found their rosters so samey, as in all of their army compositions. Actually, they feel a little bit like current Slaanesh, where they kind of feel the same no matter what you do. But fortunately, Slaanesh is getting the update, and Lizardmen have since received so many units that they didn't start out with, and that they have so many more army composition possibilities now, which is just fantastic. And now they're really, really fun to play, obviously. I still really enjoy the Tomb Kings myself as well, even with their comparatively small roster. Though it's kind of hard to say how much of that is my bias towards the undead and their just magnificent aesthetics that's talking here. I mean, I could watch Bone Giants and Hyro Titans all day. There we go, and as we can see with the enemy artillery out, the Bone Giants are now focusing those enemy heroes. The Warlock Engineers are terrified and routing, and if the shot should again stray, it'll just hit a few of the other Ratlings, whatever they may be. The bounce power has shifted to about 70% in our favor, and hey, we've actually activated the first level of the Realm of Souls, 251 out of 250 deaths required. And that, keep in mind, with several of our units of Tomb Guard fairly decently damaged. Now, the enemy is still got reinforcements on the way and a fair few units still fighting, and unfortunately, much as we'd like to sort of push outwards away from the hill, with the rats being quick and likely to rout and rally, we have to sort of reposition ourselves back to protect the artillery pieces and allow them to continue firing. On the bright side, I do love to see those those Screaming Skull catapults launching their launching their projectiles at the enemy over the course of the entire battle. They've been firing at the enemies for 7 minutes straight. That's why you gotta love a long battle. It feels so much more realistic than when the armies clash and then, the enemy army melts away in like 30 seconds and bam, the battle's over. When you get these big old long battles over the entire battlefield, it really feels nice. These are the kind of battles you play for. Alright, and ooh, nice shot. That Warlord has 1 more hit to him. Bone Giants have managed to be kept clear, and ooh, another nice hit on the enemy Lord as well. I believe our own Lord has also found another Warlock Engineer. Lots and lots of heroes from the enemy armies, I gotta say. But fortunately, we're dealing with them pretty well by the looks of it. Though there's more rats where that came from, go figure. Anyway, with more reinforcements arriving, we're going to get in their way a little bit by popping off I want to say 2nd or 3rd Skull Storm. This one overcast because the battle is looking to end soon, and we're just looking to deal as much damage as possible. No longer any need to conserve mana. And it's unlikely it'll be off cooldown before before the battle ends. Anyway, the enemy is going to counter with their own spellwork as a Pestilent Breath moves through one of our units of Tomb Guard, but fortunately they're rather distributed right now. Their formation has been sort of screwed up by their, constant moving around. I'm actually impressed that the rats haven't yet shattered, though the first army appears to have done so. The new arrivals are still in the fight, though it remains to be seen for how much longer. Oh, and we still... We're actually starting to run out of ammunition on the Screaming Skull catapults. If you're wondering why the Bone Giants have not run out of ammunition, firing non-stop for 9 minutes, now that we've got that tech, they just restocked each other. And they can keep on firing all day. Anyway, the battle is very nearly ours. Just gotta try to catch up to whatever units we can. Love all the little slinger fire just sort of bouncing off the Bone Giant uselessly. And tactically, there isn't much to say anymore. Looks like the enemy is melting away, or at least they've realized that they've no hope of clearing what we have, and with that, the Scorpion King carries another victory. Scorpion served really, really well in this particular battle by moving way out ahead of the army, unsupported, but because of their tankiness and because of their burrow ability, able to just sort of distract lots and lots of foes, and thus not allow too many of the enemy to hit our sort of main line on the hills all at once. Why'd they build these things to leave the mummy that's interred there just completely open? There's nothing covering him, so he just gets covered in blood constantly. Although maybe he enjoys that, who knows. Anyway, nice job, little dreadnought. Anyway, the battle's ours. A very, very nice fight, you gotta admit. Alrighty, there we go. An absolutely magnificent fight, if I do say so myself, and a heroic victory for the Scorpion King as well. And we did manage to knock out a lot of the enemy critical units, unfortunately, by virtue of being horrifically outnumbered by the looks of it, 2 2/3 stacks here. We certainly weren't able to do all that much chasing. Lots and lots of damage on Greater Bonebow and the Bones of Lovelock, who not only were winning the shootout against the enemy artillery, but then we're also sniping heroes and other such units. Great work out of the, various units of Tomb Guard here, one of which managed to reach 38,000 and does serve Settra, I suppose, is an appropriate name for them. The Screaming Skulls did reasonably well, between 20 and 29k damage. They're not any crazy artillery pieces, but this is certainly worthy of our attention. Everybody did well. As for the Scorpions, who got the best, it's Circuit Stinger with 158 kills and 24,000 damage, and you gotta remember that the Scorpions also cause a massive disruption to the enemy formation and all that. We're gonna heal up because we'll need to still take the place out. Alrighty, well, it looks like... Yeah, let's give this a quick... The here at Catcher sort of might for fuck. I can't say that name again. Ready for duty, Prince and Lashin. Oh, the guy that we reset. Good. And then Rouse Sentinels is now up and running. That's making me roused because that is a very, very solid 60-second buff, basically maxing out their reload and increasing their range and damage for my favorite Spokal Stalkers. An unusual location, huh? Right beside the new place. Is it another Chaos one? We've certainly had a lot of these. Abandoned Forge of Hashut. Units recruited in this province have a plus 20 armor bonus. Oh wow, that's fantastic. Wait, chance to forge a unique item when fusing 2 items? Unique item? Huh. When fusing 2 rare items. You know what? I don't care about using this because, like I said, we don't want to make use of the chaos stuff. And wow, 2 could die destroys. I am kind of interested to see what the unique item is, though, because I've never seen it before. Huh. I'll think about it. I might delete it just by virtue of, maintaining the... Oh. I forgot to attack this with the... Oh, right, because it wasn't letting us... it was killing the tomb barks. Oh, wait, I'll do that between the episodes. Stupid auto-resolve. Oh, well. Anyway, since the other army, wherever it may have been, did not sally out, I guess this is probably the point at which we call the episode here. Next time, we wipe out these rats and give their territories to our little lizard friends out here. And I believe Khalida will go north. We will continue... Ah, they jumped over Magra Khan to move towards Sour Bay, which they can probably take because our garrisons are trash, but, well, what can you do? And this guy seems to be doing the same thing. Wait, can we even go up here? Huh, apparently we can. Alright, I didn't know that this path was viable, and they're trying to go around. Well, just dealing with the rats in the mountains is going to be something of an annoyance, but what are you gonna do? Just going to have to deal. Anyway, stay tuned for more Settra. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, as they will determine the length of the campaign. Might also attack the... re-attack these guys, since despite being at war with a million factions, they still seem to hate us, so what can you do? Anyway, all glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.